Hello everyone. In this lecture we are going to talk about another aspect of plant bacteria, and it is growth. Growth of plant bacteria or growth of bacteria. What is growth? Growth refers to irreversible increase in size in case of multicellular animals or plants. But when it comes to single-celled organism, there is a limit of increase in size. A single-celled organism cannot increase in size abnormally, but they increase in number. So, in case of bacteria or any other single-celled organisms, the growth refers to irreversible increase in size and or number. Bacteria, being single-celled organisms, they multiply. They multiply by division. The parent cell divides into two each time, and this division is known as binary fission. Though some increase in size of the cell occurs through binary fission, the number also increases. So in addition to cell enlargement that takes place between two divisions, division itself is called as growth. So the asexual reproduction that increases the cell number, it actually leads to growth of bacteria. So when we say the bacteria have grown, that means the number of cells has increased. Now how the growth occurs? Say here in this case we have one bacterial cell here and it divides into two, and this plane of division is transverse. Bacteria divide in transverse plane, not in the longitudinal plane as shown in the diagram below. So bacteria divide in transverse plane. So this is a case of asexual reproduction. No sexual structure is involved here. It is just multiplication, similar to mitosis in case of plants or animals. Now when bacteria grow, we can draw a curve against time. So the number of cells increase over time, and that can be plotted and shown in the form of a graph. And in this growth curve, we see four distinct regions. The first one is lag phase. These are four phases here. Lag phase, then followed by log phase or logarithmic phase or exponential growth phase. In this phase, the number of cells increase exponentially, and then stationary phase. In this stationary phase, number of cell is at maximum, but this maximum number stays for some time. That is stationary phase. This stationary phase is followed by death phase. That means number of cells decreases because of death of cells. Now why death occurs? Death occurs because of exhaustion of medium. That means medium gets exhausted of nutrients, or due to accumulation of waste material from the growing cells. So when the cells grew, there was deposition of waste material outside the cell, and these waste material caused death of cells. later. So during lag phase, we see almost no increase in number of cells. So number of cell increases after lag phase. So in the lag phase, number of cell remains more or less constant. The cells, when inoculated to a medium, take time to adapt to the medium, and then the growth starts, the division starts. So the lag phase is followed by log phase. In the log phase, we see maximum rate of increase of the bacterial cells. So let us see these four phases now. In the lag phase, when we inoculate a bacterial culture to a fresh medium, the cells start dividing after a period of time. And this period of time, this phase is lag phase. Lag phase can be longer if the carbon source of the fresh medium is different from the previous medium from where we took the culture. So the bacterial cells take time to adapt to a new medium where the carbon source is different. So depending on the source or the composition of medium where we are inoculating a fresh culture, the lag phase can be longer or it can be shorter. So if we are inoculating bacterial cells to a medium, to the same medium but fresh medium, then the lag phase can be short or there may not be any lag phase. Okay. Then log phase or logarithmic phase or exponential growth phase. In this phase, cells multiply at exponential rate or logarithmic rate, and all cells are viable in this phase. The time taken from the completion of one division to the completion of next division is called as generation time or doubling time. That means the time that a cell takes to become 2 is known as doubling time. And this time differs depending on the bacterial species. It may be as low as 20 minutes or it may go up to hours. 20 minutes means here one cell becomes 2 in a period of 20 minutes. And in another 20 minutes we get 4 cells from the previous 2 cells. Then in another 20 minutes we get 8 cells. So from one cell to become 8 cells it takes 60 minutes. Now stationary phase. So when the log phase declines after the cells increased exponentially and they consume the medium, the nutrients where they were inoculated, then the exponential phase declines and the viable count of the bacterial cells remain constant at the maximum value. But due to deposition of waste material and exhaustion of nutrients in the medium, the cells start dying. The death rate increases exponentially and the viable count declines. So this is death phase. And in this phase, if we do not take care of re-inoculating the bacterial cells or transferring the bacterial cells to a fresh medium, all the cells will die because bacterial cells, they tend to die. Plant pathogenic bacteria do not form spores, we know that. So when the medium gets exhausted, The bacterial cells which want to remain in the active state of growth do not find any nutrients in the medium, they die. Whereas in case of fungi, when the medium gets exhausted, the cells, the fungal mycelium starts sporulating. The spores can survive in absence of nutrients. So we have to take care of the bacterial cells. We have to do periodic subculturing for bacteria to maintain their growth. Now in this connection, we have to say that the bacterial growth curve is sigmoid in nature or S-shaped in nature. Now we also see another type of growth curve. This is called as Diauxic growth. How this Diauxic growth curve is obtained? When a bacterium is inoculated to a medium containing two different carbon sources, say for example glucose or maltose, or say glucose and lactose, or say fructose and lactose. When there are two different carbon sources, then the bacterium shows two growth curves. So when we plot the two growth curves here against time, we see the curve like this. So the first curve is for carbon source 1 and the second peak is for carbon source 2. Carbon source 1 means here the bacteria have preference to use a particular carbon source. Glucose, fructose, sucrose, these are some carbon sources which are utilized by bacteria first. And then maltose, lactose, these are some other carbon sources which come in second preference for bacteria. So when there is glucose and maltose, then glucose will be taken up first. So we'll see one S-shaped curve with glucose. Then there will be no death phase here. After stationary phase, we'll see another lag phase, and in this lag phase the bacteria will prepare to utilize the second carbon, that is maltose, and it will be followed by exponential growth phase, then stationary phase, and then again death phase, because there is no third carbon source here. So before reaching the death phase, we have to transfer the bacteria to a fresh medium. So here we see two growth curves joined together. It is because of two carbon sources in the medium. So this growth curve is Diauxic growth curve. Now what are the requirements for growth of bacteria? Certainly there will be requirements of nutrition. Nutritional requirements are very diverse in case of bacteria. Apart from water, a carbon source, nitrogen source, there are many other minerals, nutrients that the bacteria require. Iron, calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, sulfur, and the trace elements, iron, manganese, cobalt, molybdenum, zinc, etc. are required. As a carbon and nitrogen source, we can put many sugars, amino acids. Okay. Now growth rate of bacteria is dependent on bacterial species. All bacteria do not grow at the same rate. Many factors like temperature, osmotic value, pH, all these and the nutritional factors, they determine the rate of growth of bacteria. Usually bacteria prefer neutral to alkaline pH. Though there are some bacteria which can grow at acidic pH, there are some bacteria which can grow at very high pH, I mean alkaline pH, but in general the pH range for bacterial growth, optimum bacterial growth is 6.5 to 7.5. How to measure the growth of bacteria? As we said earlier, growth of bacteria means increase in the number of bacterial cells. So we can measure in two ways. The number of cells can be measured in two ways. One is direct method, another is indirect method. In the direct method, we can do in two ways. By having total count of the bacteria using haemocytometer. When we say total count, it includes both viable and dead cells. Because in a bacterial growth, in a bacterial colony, we can have both viable and dead cells mixed together. If there is no autolysis occurring, then the dead cells can also be counted during our total count method. And the second method, direct method, is viable count. Viable count can be done using serial dilution technique. I am sure you know this serial dilution technique. The cells grow on nutrients, and using this serial dilution technique, we do plating of the diluted bacterial suspension in the petri dish, and we incubate it in the incubator at right temperature. The bacterial cells form colonies on the petri dish containing medium, and we count the number of colonies. So each bacterial cell, living bacterial cell or viable cell, will form one colony, and we will count the number of colonies. That will indicate the number of bacterial cells, viable count in our sample. So we will count actually the colony forming units or CFU. So this viable count gives you actual figure of the living cells in the colony. This direct method is tedious and time consuming, whereas indirect method is easy, but in indirect method we only get an estimation of the bacterial count. In indirect method, we use turbidity of the bacterial culture grown in liquid medium, and this turbidity of the bacterial culture can be measured in the spectrophotometer at some specific wavelength to get the indirect measure of cell count. When the bacterial growth occurs, the liquid medium becomes turbid. That means there is a change of color in the liquid medium. This can be measured using spectrophotometer. So we have two methods of measurement of bacterial growth. Depending on the carbon source and energy source, bacteria can be grouped into different types of nutrition. Photoautotrophs. Photoautotrophs, the carbon source is carbon dioxide and energy source is light. In case of photoheterotrophs, the carbon source is organic compound and energy source is light. So photoheterotrophs. Chemoautotrophs, carbon source is carbon dioxide, energy source is inorganic compounds, and the energy is obtained through oxidation reduction reactions. Chemoheterotrophs, carbon source is organic compound and energy source is also organic compounds. Plant pathogenic bacteria are chemoheterotrophs. There are some bacteria which can be photoautotrophs, the photosynthetic bacteria. Plants are also photoautotrophs. So in general, these are the kinds of nutrition that the bacteria have. And plant pathogenic bacteria are chemoheterotrophs. There are more terms involved in relation to growth of bacteria. Aerobic bacteria, the bacteria which require oxygen for growth, are aerobic bacteria. Most plant pathogenic bacteria are aerobic. They require oxygen. Those bacteria growing in absence of oxygen are called anaerobic bacteria. We do not have, in true sense, any anaerobic bacteria among plant pathogenic bacterial genera. The bacteria which can grow in presence or absence of oxygen, they are facultative anaerobic. Facultative anaerobic means they are basically aerobic, but they can also grow anaerobically. Some bacteria, plant pathogenic bacteria like Arwenia, Pseudomonas, they are facultative anaerobic. We have another term related to oxygen requirement for bacterial growth. It is microaerophilic. That means these organisms require low oxygen concentration. Like some lactic acid bacteria, they require low oxygen tensions. They are microaerophilic. In terms of temperature requirement, the bacteria can be grouped into three categories. Thermophilic, bacteria that grow at higher temperature. The optimum temperature for their growth is 45 or more. They are called as thermophilic bacteria. Even there are bacteria which can grow at 100 or more degrees Celsius temperature. So they are thermophilic, temperature loving. The bacteria which grow with optimum temperature requirement somewhere between 15 to 45 degrees Celsius are called mesophilic. And the ones which require temperature somewhere between 0 to 15 degrees Celsius, they are called psychrophilic bacteria or psychrophilic organisms. For most plant pathogenic bacteria, 25 to 30 degrees Celsius temperature range is enough to grow. But specifically, Xanthomonas shows the optimum growth at 30 degrees Celsius. Clavibacter shows optimum growth at 20 to 25 degrees Celsius. In this connection, we have another term called thermal death point or TDP. It refers to the temperature at which an organism is killed upon exposure for 10 minutes. For plant pathogenic bacteria, the thermal death point is 50 to 55 degrees Celsius. So, a bacterial suspension, if heated at this temperature 50 to 55 degrees Celsius for 10 minutes, then the bacterial cells will die. So, this is thermal death point. Reproduction, one very important aspect of bacterial growth. We have already said that asexual reproduction or vegetative reproduction leads to growth of bacteria, increase in the number of cells, and it occurs through a process technically known as binary fission. So it is a vegetative reproduction. No sexual structure is involved. Or we can say this as asexual reproduction. We also have sexual reproduction, though in true sense, this reproduction, the sexual reproduction, is not sexual because the sex organs are not there. gamete formation is not there, as we see in case of multicellular organisms like fungi or plants or animals. Now in this lecture we will talk about only the binary fission or asexual reproduction that has connection with growth of bacteria. So the binary fission, so here we have one bacterial cell. Before division, the cell size increases and the cell content like DNA, the chromosome, replicates, and the other cell content like plasmid, they also replicate. So in a cell which is undergoing binary fission, we see replication of DNA, the chromosomal DNA, also plasmid DNA. Then in the next step we see the invagination of plasma membrane. So the plasma membrane invaginates and the cell division begins. The cross wall is formed from the point where invagination occurred. So this cross wall or septum is formed. This cross wall is formed in the middle of the cell in the transverse plane, and these two chambers are not separated yet, but the cell content gets divided equally between two chambers, two developing daughter cells. So the chromosome which has replicated to 2 now gets their own cells. Each cell gets equal share of the parent cell, chromosome, plasmids and all. And finally, the two cells, daughter cells, get separated. Now this time duration for one cell to become two is your doubling time. And as I said earlier, it takes about 20 minutes, 30 minutes or 40 minutes, or it may be some hours. So this is how binary fission occurs. So with this, the lecture ends here. So in this lecture, we have talked about growth, what is growth, how the growth curve is, the shape, the phases in the growth of bacteria, the nutritional requirements of bacterial growth, and the terms related to temperature requirement, oxygen requirement, and finally the binary fission which leads to the growth or the increase in the number of cells. So if you have any query, any question in your mind, you can write to me in the comment box. Thank you very much.